soul, lights, and body. This is so much fun, and it's amazing when we can really bring that vibration, bring that energy, let it just flow. And, Victoria, we just want to thank you for being here and bringing that energy with you.
Thank you. Thank you
It's
both so
absolutely
much.
it's absolutely amazing, And today we just want to give gratitude. We just want to be thankful. We just want to wake up from our beds each day and we just want to grab our journal, write all the things that we're grateful for, and just embrace nature. Go for a walk. Embrace nature. As you look around, there's so many things that you can see. Just be happy. Put on some good music today, wherever you are. Put on some good music, your favorite music that you like, and just dance. Just be happy. Because you know what? It's one life we have to live. And however we chose to live that life, it's all upon us. And today we can make that choice to be happy, to get up, to dance, and just be happy. Bring that happy spirit with you. Today we got such a fabulous subject, and we had a fabulous guest here today. The topic is my personal journey to a life of fulfillment. What is fulfillment? Many people may ask, what is a life of fulfillment? Well, today we have a guest who is going to let us know, Victoria. She's going to let us know how we can live a life, a fulfilled life. She's going to walk us through her life so we can really understand that the person who Victoria is today, you can clearly see that whatever struggle that you're going through, you can get up, you can show up, you can make that choice to choose another path to walk on. And many times we ask ourselves, how can we do this? How can we show up? What is my purpose here on earth? Victoria going to help us to understand how we can do it. She's all the way from Michigan, but she's living in New York City and doing some fabulous and amazing things. And she's going to let us know exactly how we can show up and not give up so we can live a fulfilled life. I'm Karen Pascal, holistic health and wellness coach, and a co-author of two ebooks with my sister Joan Williams. Also, we have a digital magazine and a hard copy magazine. And if you have not subscribed as yet, go to the comments and you'll find the link and you can subscribe to have this beautiful magazine on your nightstand. I'll now hand you over to Miss Joan Williams, and Victoria, welcome.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you so much. That was beautiful
Yeah, thank you.
and
Beautiful,
true.
beautiful as always. Happy Friday to all of you. How you doing today? How was last week? Are you living? My question today: are you living a fulfilled life?
I am living a fulfilled life, and I'm always looking to grow even more. So I think that the deepening of being a spiritual being and having an awakening and a practice in that manner, there's always more to go. There's always looking for more depth and more um, details. But yes, I am living a fulfilled life, and I'm living a dream.
Beautiful.
Wow,
Yeah.
listen, that's the same question we would pose to our audience. My name is Jones, holistic health coach and author of the two ebooks, and we're doing a lot of projects that we will share with you. That our newsletter will be coming out soon. Our other projects, which we will tell you about that a little bit later. But our guest tonight is amazing. She's beautiful. She's talented. She's all of that and even more. And so tonight, just sit back, relax, and soak all in as like a sponge. because she's bringing great value to us tonight. And just a little background, but she will tell you more about herself. But she has appeared in over 100 commercial and stage production, and her talent has earned her numerous awards and accolades on festival in the festival circuit. She was awarded Best Actress Drama for the film Tales of Creation, and there is so much more about Victoria. But tonight, this is Victoria's moment together with us on Soul Light and Body, and she's going to enlighten us and share with us how we can move through pain, move through struggles, and and have that resilience that we can bounce back regardless what we go through. So, Victoria, thank you so much for being here. It's just a true honor for us to sit with you tonight. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And it's an honor to be able to share. And I really believe in that. I believe in that my journey can help other people. And, we're kind of all in this together in a way. So we all kind of come together, and it's that in and of itself also gives me strength, and it's empowering for everyone.
Thank you. So let's start how how you came to be in this space. Let's step back a little bit and
Yeah.
take a travel help us travel your journey with you visually, and so we can envision where you got all started from as being a native of Michigan, and move us forward and evolve us to the space that you're in.
Okay. How far back do we want to go?
As what is able to be in.
Um, well, I was born in Michigan, and I was first child. My brother's 4 years younger than I am. So I'm starting way back. And my parents were very young. They were 19 when I was born, and they were also operating their own business. So most of the time they were really busy and they were working. So I was kind of left in charge, and I was kind of in many ways had responsibilities, almost adult responsibilities, put on me from a younger age. And that as I sort of became a teenager, that became somewhat problematic because I just wanted to be a teenager and having fun and causing trouble. But I had responsibilities to look after my brother, and to make sure the house was clean and make sure we had things to eat and all of that. So that caused just a lot of pain and problems and rebelliousness, in addition to just other difficulties with my family, who kind of had their own idea um, of what sort of beliefs I should have, and who my friend should be, and what I should wear, and what I should look like, and how I should think. And I was like always an independent, true thinker, like, no, this is who I am. And and if you tell me that I'm going to be something else, I'm going to really do the opposite. So that eventually, ultimately, really created a split. This is, of course, a shortened version, a fast forward version. Um, but I ran away from home when I was 16. And that, of course, there were events that were leading up to that obviously were very traumatic. And I kind of felt that I needed to do that to survive, actually. I needed to leave for my spirit, my person to exist, because I felt like it was getting crushed and killed. So, of course, I had to go through a lot of hardships during that time. And those things, in and of themselves, made me a very strong person, because I am a survivor. And, I can put myself in very difficult situations, knowing that I will be fine, because I've been there, I've done it. And I know that I can jump out of that window, and I will still land on my feet, and even in a better position. So in a way, like they always say, if life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. And that is really what happened from that situation. And that took me many, many years to really reconcile and to get rid of the pain. I kind of had for a long time, I had a feeling like I didn't have a family, and I felt very alone. I felt very isolated for many years, maybe like a dozen years. And so I was a person who would just cry like all the time, and in a way that was okay too, because I didn't know it, but it was actually very therapeutic for me. And sometimes I would just go out on the roof and I would just sit out there by myself and I would cry for like hours and hours and hours. And it was a lot cheaper than therapy. But I imagine the therapy would have been fine too. But I got there. So eventually I did sort of form my own family in New York City. I came here when I was 18 years old, and I came here on my 18th birthday because that was really, I wanted to live in a big city. I wanted to live where there were bigger ideas, where people, didn't just think one thing. And if you didn't think that way, you were weird or freak or whatever it was. So, yeah, when I came here, I actually ended up having a different type of identity crisis when I came to New York, because I was so accepted and I didn't have to fight anymore.
Right.
And then my persona as a fighter wasn't there anymore.
Right.
And it was like, it sort of became this very dark period. I mean, I came here and I was offered 4 jobs in management and all kinds of things, and I didn't have to fight. And it was like, who am I?
Right.
What's my purpose? My purpose for a long time was just, I want to be seen. I want to be heard. Let me be myself. That was my purpose. And then I didn't have to do that anymore. So then that was part 2. And that was another thing I had to come through, was really finding who I was. And that also took some time, but I did come through that. And one of the things that helped me to be able to make that transition, well, it was really 2 things. One of them was that I was modeling and I was traveling to different countries and I was learning about different cultures. And that really enabled me to just see how people believed things a little bit differently. It wasn't always the exact same as what the American ideal is. And I found that also very empowering, because I was able to choose and learn and see those experiences and decide what felt right for me.
Right.
Which was really awesome. And then ultimately I ended up experimenting with acting. I really didn't want to become an actress at first, because I just thought it was cliche. I thought all the models become an actress, and I really don't want to do that. I don't want to be the cliche. But I said, I'll try it, just to see what it's like. And believe it or not, it was a very, very therapeutic thing for me. And that's really, really what it was for me in the beginning. It was very much therapy. Like, I really learned about myself as a person. Like, I was involved in the Meisner technique, and people, the Meisner technique is when you say something to somebody and then you just repeat it back and forth to each other. But something that you say, of course, you may not repeat it in the same tone. I could say, you look happy. And then they say, you look happy. And all of a sudden I feel like you're judging me, so it's like a real idea that comes out. And so it goes into these different phases where you have to say something different, because all of a sudden what you're thinking is different. And I learned so much about just how I reacted to certain things and how I thought about things. And that was able to really make me be neutral as more neutral as a person, because when you take on a character, you need to reach a point of neutrality before you start to work on the character. Because whoever that person is, they believe what they believe, and I think most people believe that they're good people too. So
Right.
even if there's somebody who really does horrible things by most people's standards, like maybe they let their child be abused by their boyfriend. Okay, so but you need to be able to have that character justify why that's allowed. So going back, because I may divert, I was able to become more neutral myself, which was a very positive thing. And I was able to say, wow, I didn't realize that every time I heard people whisper in the corner, I thought they were talking about me, or I didn't realize that every time somebody was mad, I thought that they were mad at me, And so those were big things to realize that's not necessarily the case. They could be talking about something else, or that person could have just had a really bad day. Maybe they lost money in the stock market, or maybe their mom just yelled at them. It's not about me. And so, wow, I was able to lift this huge weight off of my shoulders that I didn't think like the whole world was out to get me. Because I think when I came into New York, I just was like this, and I was through that able to tilt things so I could at least, maybe they are, but maybe they're not. My first instinct is they're not. So that was really able to help me come to a neutral place. And I would say that whenever something bothers me, or I find, I also found the period during COVID and the lockdowns, I found that also a very transitional period. And I know it was for a lot of people, but for me, it kind of also hit me like this almost like midlife crisis thing. And I didn't even realize that. I just realized probably in the last few months, that's really what it was. And I'll call it a transitioning, actually, not a crisis. I've decided it's a transition. It's just a rethinking of ideas. But when I went into that lockdown period, it really seemed like, wow, the only thing that really mattered was my very close friends and my family. And I started saying, well, I don't have a family. I don't have my own personal children. So I started thinking, well, is everything that I do worthless? Does any of it matter? And, that took some time as well for me to move through. And I just kept going, because I know whenever these things happen, I would pour myself more into my work. So I said, oh, I'm just going to focus on improving my singing. I'm going to focus on meeting people, industry people through Zoom, in addition to just connecting with the people who meant a lot to me. And ultimately, through the work that I was doing a course on iconic positioning, which is sort of an advertising course, but it really talks about, one of the parts of that course, which just helped me immensely, was it talked about beliefs. And that there was an exercise where I wrote down all of my beliefs, the things that I believed in. And that exercise in and of itself completely bumped me out of that funk, because it made it very clear that these things were my purpose, and it became very clear to me that by sharing my beliefs, I mean, I'm sure you can imagine, to give you an example, like people with incredibly strong beliefs, who, like you can have someone who goes to jail for 40 years and like Mandela, and then he comes out and he becomes the president. I mean, the man had a belief, right?
Mhm.
He had a belief, and he was able to endure all of that and come out even further than somebody who never endured that.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
I think that understanding that and really writing out your beliefs, it's really key in knowing who you are. and that those beliefs are really your purpose.
Love it.
I
I just like what
You
you
speak.
just said.
Speak. Go ahead, Karen.
I just like what you just said. Writing out your beliefs, and then is where you're gonna find your purpose.
Exactly. It's like with the iPhone. Here's another example. I mean, there's a lot of great computer companies and people that make nice gadgets, and they look good and everything. But why do people go to wait for 6 hours in line for the new iPhone? They go because they follow the belief of being first.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to be the first one that has it. They don't want
Yes.
to wait. So it's like that's the same idea of having those beliefs. So it's become very clear to me that it's important to really show who I am, and to make that part of the awareness, to share it and to be proud of it, and not be um, not be what's the word, not be too small about it, to be proud of the things that we've accomplished, that I've accomplished, and say, yeah, I've done this, and I can do this. And this is what I believe. And
You're right.
yeah.
Yes.
What is your greatest strength?
Oh, that's a good one.
My greatest strength is, I would say, determination. I mean, I'm a very determined person. So something visceral, something that's really powerful, and following my gut instinct and sticking with it and being determined. Willfulness.
That's
Okay.
amazing. That's a good answer. And just following and thinking about where you started the conversation, from where you started your life journey, there was so much in between, but that level of strength, that level of tenacity, and that level of resilience that has brought you that level of strength. And what about your spiritual aspect, that component that guided you to make your decision to be who you are today as a person? Can you want to touch a little bit about on that?
Sure. I would say that it's more recent that I've really put focus into that. I'd say definitely in the last year, but I always have. I mean, I'm an artist, so I do have, I sort of have a dichotomy, because I can be a very tough girl, but I'm also a very sensitive person. And that's part of the reason that I have why I'm so tough. I had to be tough to protect my sensitive soul. So, the spiritual aspect was partially started to be developed again through the acting. So acting was like so important to me for many, many reasons. But one of the things that you learn as an actor, is that you need to be very resilient, because you're consistently rejected. But at the same time, you need to be so vulnerable. And that embracing and the beauty of vulnerability is power. And so I would call that spirituality on some level. And the human connection with other artists, when I go to see a live performance and I can see someone shine, and just all of the light emanating out of them, and who they are and what they want to share. And that makes me feel like we're bonded in some way as human beings, and that we're sharing similar um, similar struggles, similar joys, and that sometimes if you just stay on your own in the corner, you think that, I'm kind of weird, or or maybe this really isn't acceptable, and I'm kind of ashamed. I really shouldn't be like doing that or thinking that. And then I've also just learned through performing, if I think it's something I shouldn't say, I'm going to say it. And usually the thing is that those moments are usually the moments that I find that people like really applaud the most, because they're like, because they're there, like they're thinking it too, and they feel it too. And so just that knowledge of acceptance to be true is huge. It was huge for me. And those are kind of things that just happened and that developed my spirituality in some way on its own. And now I do actively look more to certain spiritual leaders. Like I like Eckhart Tolle a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, I really like
Good too.
you like him too. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a lot of
This
his,
book we
yeah,
listen to.
yeah. So I'm a big fan of him, and I've listened to some other people too, but I like just playing different things in the background and hearing, writing down certain things if they really touch me. And that's how as of right now, I continue to deepen my spirituality. And at some point, when I have a little more time, I wouldn't mind finding someone who's really, really, top notch, like, and just doing personal discovery work, which I think would also be excellent for developing spirituality.
Wow.
Um,
That's truly amazing what you shared there. That when you come to that awareness, you
Mhm.
really understand yourself more in depth.
Exactly.
And because you have shifted to that space, it is always within you. That spiritual side is always within you. But because you make that shift,
Mhm.
you're able to understand in depth more about yourself, who you are. And
Exactly.
that is what is really helping you on this journey, because now you become open and you
Mhm.
become receptive. Now you're looking more for more spiritual food, you
And a
know,
deep level.
that you could be fed this spiritual food. And that is absolutely amazing, Victoria. Absolutely amazing. How do you deal with failure?
Um, I have no problem with failure. I say fail faster. That way I can find the right path sooner.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
If you're gonna fail, it's like fail big. Because if you didn't, then you didn't really take the chance. I have no problem. I mean, at one point, of course, I was much more hesitant, to fail or to be judged negatively. But I really don't. And I guess that in some ways I like risk, but I just see it as a positive.
Mhm.
I see failure as a positive to moving to the right thing.
Yeah, I'm glad you say that, because someone who might be listening tonight, or someone who might be listening on the replay, because everybody look at failure in a different light. And I
Yes.
say that because now whoever's going to be hearing this from on this broadcast would understand. Look at it from this advantage point here, that is good for you. Don't look at it as a bad thing, because it will help you to do better. It will help you to evolve better, and it help you to understand yourself as a person, and what can you do better for yourself as an individual. Is that right?
100%.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
many times we when we mess up, I would call it, we tend to really beat up ourselves, and we tend to look at ourselves with a very negative eye, not really understanding what you just said. There is that look at failure with a different eye. It is trying to teach us something new.
Mm-hmm.
It is trying to help us something, trying to help us to understand something more in depth than
Right.
it. That is if we chose to look at it that way.
That's it. That's the biggie.
It all depends on how you make that choice to look at it, because it helps us when, so let's say we're doing a project right now, and it's not going the way how we want it to go, we got to look at the project and try to understand, why is it not going the way how we want it? What else can we do to
Right.
enhance that project? Maybe we need to collaborate with somebody else.
Yes.
Maybe we need to seek help, some professional help. But many times we just throw the shelf and said, you know what, the hell with that, I'm not doing that.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. And the other thing that it brings to mind is imperfection. I always say perfectly imperfect. It's perfectly imperfect. And I mean, some people could also see imperfections as failure.
Yeah.
For example, I mean, in my first show, it was my first cabaret show, and I was distracted by the waiters and the people talking and high-fiving, because in the theater we don't really have that. I mean, I've had people's phone go off in the theater, but I would just sit there and whatever. I'm sitting in my on-set yard and wait for the person to turn off their phone and then continue the conversation, to continue the play. But in the cabaret, the music's going. So I got very thrown off by all this, and I just turned to the guy in at the piano, and I said, "Can we restart this?" And he goes, "Yeah." Bump, 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 and we went right into it. And that's an example. Like, I could really beat myself up over that, but there's no need to, because I've seen some of the best of the best who've had similar situations. I saw Barbara Cook at Carnegie Hall. She restarted her song 2 times. And even last night, I went to see Diana Ross, who was amazing. And she had her band restart. She said, "Oh, there's something going on here with I can hear the singers. When I hear the singers, I can't hear the band. And when I hear the band, I can't hear the singers." So she stops in the middle of the show and tells the tech people to fix this. And then she has the band redo the part, because she wanted this cellist to really have her, her show and her go. And it's like that. The funny thing is that these imperfections, they're
Mhm.
often the thing that I like the most.
Yes.
I saw Shakespeare in the Park once. The guy dropped the dog in the moat, and then they started riffing in Old English. This is the part that I remember the most, and how enjoyable it was, and watching the people deal with an error and how they deal with it. I find it really compelling.
It is compelling because we learn so much, and we can apply that in whatever moments we may encounter in our lives, the challenges that we may encounter, because as we living and live life, there will always be challenges, and how we choose to handle that, that's what is important, and come out
Exactly.
victoriously. Yeah.
Exactly. And that
So
makes it exciting, actually.
it does make it. Yeah, Karen and I share that, and we know, so we totally can relate to what you're saying. So talk to us about this cabaret show. We're all excited to learn, and the audience as well.
Again, this cabaret show came artistically from me really looking for a solution to things that were bothering me. And I really started to become very bothered uh, by the topic of love and what it turns into. If you're with a person for 20 years, 25, 30 years, whatever it is, and and I started to get scared, what happens and what's my future going to be like? Is there going to be passion? Is it just going to be boring? I mean, what's going to happen? So this is really how this show began. And I started Googling a lot, and I came across these articles called Stages of Love, which talked about, really set out 6 separate stages of love. If you see my show, I don't want to give away the whole show, but if you see the show, I do spell them out. I spell out, these are the 6 stages. And when I read this, I just automatically said, wow, I mean, I have songs about like all of these stages and more. I mean, after all, like, so many songs are written about some type of love, heartbreak, missed opportunity, lust, true, deep, forever love. I mean, that's what touches our soul. So that's when I just knew it. I said, wow, this is my show. I'm going to have a show, and it's the Stages of Love. And that's how it came to be. and then in the show, I also have a lot of just personal stories about love in its many incarnations. And it's a lot of fun. I'm able to share myself, and I'm able to also interact with the audience and tie together the songs from true places in my life.
That is so awesome. That is so beautiful, because you're able to share your authentic self and
Exactly.
receive by everyone who is in the audience and can relate to them in so many different levels.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's nice. I can actually see people in the audience thinking about something that I may say, like, do you really know? Are you really with the special someone? And you can see people thinking, or, it's very fulfilling.
That is beautiful.
Listening to you, Victoria, it really helps one to understand that whatever happened to us in the past, we can use it at some point in our life to really inspire others.
Right.
And that is what you're doing at this point in time. You took everything from the past, each phase that you went through, each one of the experiences that you went through. You took these experiences and now you turn it into something that would benefit people and it would help them to understand the stages of love.
Yes. And my ultimate hope is that people leave with a feeling of hope, and with a feeling that although it's not easy and it can be heartbreaking, that it's worth it.
Of course. And that is fulfillment right there.
Yes, it is fulfillment. And that's life.
And that's life. That's it.
And the other thing about life is it's always, sometimes one of the things that I want to say is it's a reflection. Like, you can have these incredible highs, these euphoric moments, these incredible moments from your life, but they seem even more incredible when you've actually experienced things which are really dark. And if you always just had everything, like everything was, okay, there was never a big issue, then your experience of joy is also going to be around the same. But when you've experienced this, then you can experience this too. And that also makes it easier when you know that they have to go together. And so when you go into that place, I don't get too scared, because I know there's a light on the other end. And it's even a brighter light, and it's a more true light, because we're ever evolving, we're ever changing.
Absolutely.
So, just because this light doesn't mean that I'm not going to come down here again and have to go through another awakening.
Love
Yeah,
that.
We totally agree with you. Totally. Because as we constantly move to every level, as we constantly move in every different season, we're learning. We go sometimes, most of the time we gotta go through pain, go through those challenges so as to get that light to even come brighter. We shine
exactly.
bright so we can help others to shine their light as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, and as we shift into these different experiences and into these different spaces, we got to be open.
Of course.
We got to be open. We got to be open. We got to be honest with ourselves. And we got to look at the situations and the experiences that we are going through at the moment. It's a moment to learn. These
Mhm.
situations are teaching us something. And
Right.
I'm gonna pedal back to what you said before, Victoria. When we're going through these situations, there is a reason. There
Mhm.
is a reason. Because
Yes.
look at you today. You're able to take all of those experiences that you went through, and now you're able to put it into a form of a show that you could bring value to people's lives so they could understand the true meaning of love. What is love? So today, whatever experience or situation you're going through at this point in time, look at it with a positive eye.
Right.
Look at it whereby you're going to be able to use this situation or experience in the future.
Mhm.
It's only gearing you up for what is to come. So that is what we really need to do, is to look at whatever we are going through with a very open mind. That is what we need to do. Look at the situation with an open mind. What
Right.
is your definition for happiness?
Well, I have a very simple definition for it. Something to do, someone to love, and something to look forward to.
I gotta write that one down. Can you repeat it?
Something to do, someone to love, and something to look forward to.
That's complete.
Yes.
That's complete.
Hmm.
Wow,
Any human being can look at those what you've listed and strive towards that in whatever
that's beautiful. That's well said. That's
it
well
is.
said.
And it's so simple.
It is so
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah.
What's the best decision you ever made with your life?
Hmm. That's an interesting one because I've definitely had more than one. I would say the best decision I made was coming to New York
Mhm.
because it really embraced my dreams and it gave me the opportunity to achieve them and just to really develop, face challenges,
Yes.
overcome challenges, and be around people who were incredibly advanced
Mhm.
in so many ways. I mean, whatever I love learning. I'm like a sponge, So whatever it is I wanted to learn, if I wanted to learn, I was an equestrian, and I, I learned from fabulous people. I've learned from wonderful mentors. I've had wonderful mentors in real estate, wonderful mentors in bodybuilding. You can just find the best of the best here, and just the ability to soak up all of that and just really, really develop all of my dreams and my persona.
Wow.
What's Victoria?
What's that?
What is next for Victoria?
Oh, that's next. There's a few next. After the show, one of the things that I've been wanting to do for some time, and I intend to do it, is I've had I've wanted to do some videos on health and wellness because that's like a very, very big part of who I am. I mean, I live it. I have lived it for many, many years. Um, so I'm going to start some top 10 videos, and these are also based off of my beliefs. Of course, health and wellness is a big part of my belief. It's one of my strong beliefs. So I want to share those beliefs. I'll start with top 10s and the top 10 things to be healthy. And I'm going to make some um, entertaining videos that really talk about my beliefs in the hopes that people will adopt some of these ideas because I believe so strongly in them. And I think they are key to living a long, healthy, mobile, um, so you're really engaged as a human and active and everything. So that's one of my immediate nexts.
Wow.
Beautiful, beautiful. That sounds amazing. Yeah. Because we go through life and we tend to not really pay too much attention to our health. Not knowing our health really help us along the way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really good that you can dive into that aspect too, and to help people to understand that you have the broad heading love, but then loving yourself, and this is the way how you can do it by taking
Yes.
care of yourself.
Yes. Self-love.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's really amazing.
It is.
I think we're gonna pause and play one of your clips right now.
Okay, great.
You know who wasn't a square, Kent?
Who?
Giovanni.
Oh yeah, I've heard this one.
Giovanni. Ah. We met in Italy when I was modeling in Italy. And he was to die for. He had incredible, gorgeous black hair. And he had these hazel green eyes that you could just lose yourself in forever. And he had this bronze skin that would just beat up under the Italian sun, glistening, and I would lick it off. Okay, was that too a TMI? Oh, we had so much fun.
Wow. Tell us about that.
Oh, that's putting myself out there. Just being my authentic self.
Yeah.
Those are little interludes in a song that I'm doing, which is a Mambo Italiano. So I kind of lose myself in these memories, which I think are a lot of fun, and I've been told by other people they just laugh, they enjoy it, they relate to it, or they're just wishing they did that, or whatever the case may be. It seems like people really enjoy it, and it makes me feel good that they're with me, and we're kind of just going on this journey of we've all just had some lust. There's nothing wrong with it. There's a place for that.
Right.
Yes, yeah. And it's such a beautiful thing that you are living in your truth,
Mm-hmm.
and you can be free to
Right.
express yourself, and the way how you're expressing yourself, if people are enjoying that side of Victoria, because
Exactly.
you could bring a smile to someone's face, and you can make that person even start thinking about what you're saying, to maybe to enhance their love relationship, or maybe to even tell someone about it.
Yes, exactly.
Right, it's good.
Yeah, that's fun. And they can share their experience, and they can remember, and memories are a beautiful thing of part of life.
Right.
And that is fulfillment right there, because one is being nurtured, one is being fulfilled on that aspect of their lives. And that's a great joy. It takes a special gift to person to able to bring out that in an individual. So we give you your flowers because you're doing such an amazing job and using all the gifts that you came with. and utilizing it to creating such an to share with the world. So thank you so much for just giving of yourself unconditionally. And people are able to be receptive and to receive all of that from you. So you're fulfilling lives for yourself and for others too.
I appreciate that, and
Yeah.
I thank you. That means a lot to me as well.
Yeah. Yes.
You're blessed.
Yes, you are.
You're,
You are. You are. And listening to the first part of what you said when you just introduced yourself, you know, at the age of 16, you made that choice to take a leap of faith.
Yes.
At the age of 16, you made that choice to take that leap of faith. And when you take that leap of faith, you did not really know where you're going, how it's gonna work out, what is gonna happen. But Victoria just decided, you know what, I'm gonna take this leap of faith. At 16 years of age, you made the run for it, you know? And look where you are today.
Yes, it's true, and it's debatable when you say what was the most important choice, and that may be the most important choice because I've had so many, but it was such a large part of taking a leap of faith and all of the amazing good things that came out of it that I could have never even imagined.
right. But if I could say, I think deep within, right, there was a sense of knowing
Yes.
within you. Because only you can reach to that level in your inner space, in your inner core, your intuition. And you were able to move on that.
That's true, Joan. I find that very interesting because, I mean, I really had nothing. I left with nothing, like a garbage bag full of, Depp hair gel. It was the 80s. Some eyeliner, important things, But I really left with nothing. I didn't have money. I had nothing. I hitchhiked down the street, and I just stole things to survive. I needed something to eat. I stole it, whatever. I did what I had to do. But then I eventually was able to have a job, and I had my work, and I didn't have a lot, but I always knew somehow or another, I knew I was going to New York. And this is what's very strange. I always knew that I was going to be extremely successful.
Wow.
Even financially. When I first came to New York, I lived in a Passaic, and I lived in a basement, like I rented a room in a basement. There were cockroaches in a boiler. Okay. And somehow I knew that I was going to be a wealthy woman.
Wow.
Now, why would you even think that? But somehow I innately knew it. And eventually it happened. I mean, I did fall into real estate. I did very well in real estate, and I own properties, and I look back, and I just was like, how did I know that? But somehow I knew.
Yes. There was a sense of knowing from that early age. There
Yeah.
was, and you couldn't explain it because you're young, you're living life, you're finding yourself, but you had that sense of knowing, in that gut feeling, that intuition. You were able to go in that inner core of you, that inner space that nobody else could reach or touch, but only you and God, or whatever your spirituality is. And you knew. And here
Yes.
you are, sitting to give the testimony of where you are now and all your accomplishments, everything you've done, and continue to do more. And we applaud you that now you're moving into the wellness space, because that is a space that we focus on. Because we focus on, when we speak to people and speaking to someone, we talk about not only what you're eating on your plate per se, because that is one aspect of health and wellness, but how are you nurturing yourself? How are you feeling fulfilled? What are the other areas, your creativity, your joy, that you're not really thinking about? And those are the things, our 12 components that we speak on, and pull people in that aspect, to let them think a little bit differently to not only what is on the plate, but living from the inside out, and all those components that make you as a whole, and keep that in alignment.
Yeah, that's one of the things that when I first got a message from you and I looked at your show that I really did feel aligned with both of you in
Thank you.
regards to that.
Thank you.
One of the reasons I was excited to meet you both and be on the show. Yeah. So I'm also excited because the same way that I knew that I was going to be successful when I had nothing, I feel that there's this huge success ahead of me. And it's very exciting because I just I never want to rush time because I want to enjoy every moment of my life.
Yes.
But at the same time, I feel so excited because I just think there's some really, really big things. The more and more that will be even bigger than that. That was such a big, that event when I was younger and I went on my own was such a big shaping event. But I feel like this new thing that's coming is actually even going to surpass that and be even bigger. And that's pretty big. And it has to really do with really being in touch with my true self
Right.
and really sharing that with the world. And that's another thing that you'll start to see more in my posts and things. I'm going to really start to share personal beliefs and I just think that that's when some really, not that that's the reason, but when you really become your true self, that's when all of those amazing dreams, like things, the best things you could possibly think of in the planet could ever happen. And that's what I believe now. So it's exciting.
You know, listening to what you're saying there, Victoria, it really helps one to understand that we can really, in moments when we are going through these experiences and these situations, it all depends upon our mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Because whatever we are thinking, that is what we are manifesting.
Right.
And you trusted your intuition because you knew within you that you're going to be a successful woman. And because you trusted that intuition, you held on to that you are going to be a successful woman. In spite of what I'm going through at this moment, I am going to be a successful woman. And because you held on to that, you automatically manifest that into your life. You draw it towards yourself. So that is why we really got to pay attention to whenever we are going through these experiences, these shifts, these situations. It all depends on what we are holding on to. What are the things that we are telling ourselves when we are making these shifts through these different spaces? What are we telling ourselves? What are we fueling ourselves with? Because when we are going through these situations, it all depends what we are listening to, what we are looking at, who we are speaking with, because all of these things help to shape us.
Yeah, that is so
So
true.
we are proud of you
Yeah,
for
we.
really in those spaces you
Mhm.
held on to that. I'm going to be a successful woman. No matter what, I will be a successful woman. So
Yeah.
a round
And,
of applause for you.
and
Thank you.
just not layer on that now because you have evolved on a new level and you constantly continue to life continues to propel and trust you forward. You're in a new space. You know, you're in a new season and you're getting ready to launch yourself into a much greater season. And you start to feel that gravitational pull because you know there is something bigger. There is something bigger than if you think that, which in your mind you're thinking, I'm just paraphrasing, that I've done a lot before. Get ready because there is much more humongous things for you that is going to be coming and unveiling to the world. But the reason why I just want to say this piece before is that because you believe in yourself and because you're walking in your true purpose, that is why everything just continue to evolve for
100%. That is the light. Yeah.
If Victoria, if you want to give a message to the world, what would it be?
I would say the message is to really identify the things that you believe in and to realize those as your purpose, and to don't be too humble about it.
right.
Be proud of it.
Yes.
Let people know. And that will draw people
Hmm.
who believe in your belief.
Right.
They come to you like a light because they believe in the same things, and then just magical things could happen.
True.
There's so many pieces of advice, but that's one that I believe strongly. And just, I guess, also just to be visceral, things, follow your gut, your whatever really, like, really you just grabs you. That's
Hmm.
that's really who you are.
Wow.
Well
Yeah.
said.
Wow. That's amazing. You're blessed, Victoria. We are so honored that you were able to share this space with us and have enlightened us on so many different things and help us to continue to maintain courage and strength and be resilient in our path forward. Karen?
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
it was a pleasure.
yeah, listening to you, Victoria, for this 1 hour, it's very inspiring. And I know the audience will take away pieces of what you said today because you help us to understand that we all have choices,
Mm.
and you help us to understand that we could trust our intuition, and you help us also to understand manifestation. You help us to understand visualization. You help us to see what we may be telling ourselves, the negative things that we may tell ourselves, the fear that we may be walking through, feeling so fearful of life, we don't know our purpose. You can, because you said, write things down. Get your journal or a piece of paper and write things down. It may not make sense to you at the moment, but as you go along and as you shift into different spaces, you have that as a guide, as a roadmap, and you can look at it and you can really understand your purpose here. So, Victoria, I want to thank you so much for showing up.
We have to do this again.
Yeah, we got to do this again.
We'll do it again. And I'm looking forward to meeting you both in person in August.
Yes.
Thank you
We
so
will
much for the
there.
tickets that you have given to me and
Yes.
Joan. We really appreciate the complimentary tickets.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
so much. And definitely we're going to meet you in August.
You will.
We will meet you in person. Yes, we will meet you in person, Victoria. And thank you so much for showing up for the world.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with people so people could understand, you know what? I may be here at this point in time, but I don't have to stay here. You was at 16 years of age and you made that choice. And look where you are today.
Yes.
So whatever situation or experiences that someone is going through today, you don't have to stay there. You can make that choice. You can get up, you can stand up, and you can start moving. And start moving in a positive way.
Yeah.
Start to really recondition your thoughts because that is so important. Because the way how you think, that is what you're going to attract. Victoria think abundance. Now she's living in abundance.
Yes.
So you got to start to think abundance for yourself. You got to see yourself living in abundance. And once you start to do that, that is what you're going to attract to yourself. So you got to start to change those thoughts. Start to feed yourself with good thoughts. Start to eat those good thoughts, because once you start to feed yourself that, that is what you will become.
Of course. Your thoughts shape your reality.
Absolutely. So Victoria,
Thank you.
thank you so much.
Thank
Hats
you.
off to you.
Pleasure.
All the flings, all the
Accolades.
everything. Thank you.
And we'll see you in August.
Yes, we will see you in August. Yes. And to
Excellent.
the audience, thank you so much for taking the time and joining us today. And I hope that you've been taking your notes.
Connect with Victoria.
Connect with Victoria. She's an amazing woman. She's her vibration, her frequency is so high because she's been attracting abundance in her life. She's been pulling it in. So,
I was just gonna say before you close, Karen, is that if you're in the New York City area or not too far from New York City, make sure you come to see the show as well.
yes, absolutely. So
Sorry to cut in there.
it's okay, John. So Victoria, any words before we leave? Where can the audience grab tickets from?
Oh, well, you could it's at Don't Tell Mama, of course, or you can go to victoriaguthrie.com, and I have all social media links with links to the show, or just if anyone's interested, you could pass on my information to them, and I'll just send them a link to the show, and I would love to share my journey further with people. And then I'm there after. I love meeting and greeting all of the guests after the show, and hearing about their experience and taking some snapshots for fun. So it'd be great.
Yes.
Looking forward.
Yeah, we're looking forward to see you in August. Yes.
Very much
Thank you
so.
so much. Thank you so much. And continue to stay blessed. Continue to be motivated by what you're doing. Continue to surround yourself in abundance, because that is what you're doing. And continue to share your inspiring journey with the world. Thank you so much.
Continue your excellence.
Thank you.
Thank you. Guys, have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much.
Thank you.